Є чітко зафіксований факт агресії Російської Федерації проти України на Азовському морі.
Обвиняемый в совершении преступления предусмотрено частью 3 статьи 322 Уголовного кодекса Российской Федерации на 3 месяца, всего до 4 месяцев 29 суток, то есть до 24 апреля 2019 года.
Он еще не вылечился.
Як ваше самопочуття? Скажіть, будь ласка.
Как это не прискорбно было оказано давление?
Все добре, сдерживалось.
Только по-русски.
Только по-русски.
Только по-русски, еще раз говорю.
Кремль понимает, что уже понимает, что в ситуации с захватом военнопленных моряков вляпался в очень сложную, некрасивую, тяжелую политическую ситуацию.
Хотели бы услышать.
Ваш интерес, вам расскажу. Адвокат, брат.
Вам понятно постановление?
Выходим. Пресса, выходим.
We're in Moscow. It's January 15th, 2019. The time is 4:20 in the evening. A group of 4 prisoners is being escorted into the hall of the Lefortovo District Court of Moscow. 3 of them are injured. We notice the youngest of them, Andriy Eider, limping. The one who worked in Ukraine's security service, Vasil Soroka, has a swollen arm and has difficulty bending it. Outside the court hall, in the corridor, there is a support group, relatives of the prisoners, Russian journalists and volunteers who help the Ukrainian sailors during their detention. Applause is heard and then an unexpected glory to Ukraine team. Ukrainian sailors had been tried in groups of 6, 4 men in each group. That's how many people can fit into the cell located in the Lefortovo court hall in Moscow. The Ukrainian sailors are all accused of crossing the maritime border illegally. The verdict is the same for all 24 of them, to extend their detention to another 3 months.
Обвиняемый в совершении преступления предусмотрено частью 3 статьи 322 Уголовного кодекса Российской Федерации на 3 месяца, всего до 4 месяцев 29 суток, то есть до 24 апреля 2019 года.
As per the request of the Russian State Security Service, or FSB, the court hearing was closed, apparently because of the secret information present in the case files. However, just the fact that the sailors would be present in the court hall is an opportunity for many to see them. 17 family members had made it all the way to Moscow for the hearing, but they only managed to exchange a few words with the captured sailors. We've only managed to speak to them for a couple of minutes.
Ваше самопочуття, скажіть.
Все добре, сдерживалось.
Только по-русски.
Только по-русски. Что понимаете?
Только по-русски, еще раз говорю.
Як ваше самочуття? Ми через перекладача.
Самопочуття добре, всі держаться, дякую.
На українській змі. Як ваше самопочуття?
Все добре, все добре.
Tomorrow, the commander of the Nikopol boat, Bogdan Nebelitsa, turns 25, so his relatives and acquaintances congratulate him in advance. The next group of sailors to be tried has Oleg Melnichuk in it, the commander of the Yanekapu tugboat. He is one of the 6 captured Ukrainians who continue to demand a Russian-Ukrainian translator. Another group has Roman Mokryak, the captain of the Berdyansk boat. Just like all the other sailors, Mokryak insists he's a prisoner of war. He refuses to answer any questions that aren't about his name, age or occupation, referring to the Geneva Convention on treating prisoners of war. His lawyer Ilya Novikov says that Mokryak insists every captured sailor be freed bar him.
My defendant, Roman Mokryak, formulated his position during his interrogation in this way. If Russia has any complaints about anything that happened on board of his ship, they should address them to him and not his staff who were just following orders and should be released regardless of anything. And until his crew is freed, he will not give any testimony. I like this stance of his. It's strong and consistent. but I don't think it made any impression on the Russian investigators. They were given a command to pursue this case as an organized group case. But that's madness. When you're a second-degree captain and you have a subordinate sailor, you don't consult with him. You just give him orders which he complies with. It's clear that this desire to try the entire group only came about because it makes the case look like a serious crime.
The brief meeting with the prisoners gives an opportunity to see the injuries they acquired during the seizure near the Kerch Strait in November. Russian military ships fired on the Ukrainian tugboats. Ukrainian human rights ombudsperson Lyudmila Denisova, who was also present during the hearing, repeats that Russia had refused to provide any medical records about the sailors' health to Ukraine. They're clearly not fully recovered yet. I've seen Soroka's arm. I know how Andriy Eider is feeling. He's the youngest of the group, so we need to make sure we receive all the medical records. One of the sailors' lawyers tells us that there was an attempt on the Russian part to force the Ukrainians, whom Russia does not consider prisoners of war, to give testimonies that are in line with the prosecution.
Yes, of course, we spoke to them about this. All the cases where pressure was applied will be appealed.
There were such cases?
There were such cases, however sad that might be, but pressure was applied and we will appeal this in court.
And when exactly was it applied?
During the Christmas holidays, before the Christmas holidays and after the holidays.
The defendant's position remains unchanged. They insist they're prisoners of war and refuse to testify.
The Kremlin understands, they now understand, that with the situation of capturing the naval prisoners of war, they have gotten themselves into a very complicated, nasty political situation. And of course, they now understand that we will raise the question of violating the Geneva Convention in court, and that in an undefined future, the Russian authorities can end up before an international tribunal. This is a war crime against Ukrainian soldiers, and of course, they now try to backpedal this situation using any available means to them. And they don't allow media, relatives or Ukrainian ombudsperson Lyudmila Denisova into the court hall.
We would really like to speak with the men's relatives, but in this uneasy situation, surrounded by Russian journalists, they refuse to speak on camera. But off the record, they explain that they don't want their comments to be twisted. They promise to speak to us after the sailors return home. Inside the court building, we meet Victoria Ivleva, a Russian journalist and volunteer who has been helping various Ukrainian political prisoners in Russia for a long time. These days, she's organizing the delivery of care packages and food for the sailors. Only a few of these packages make it to the detention center, even if the things inside it are on the allowed list. Ivleva says that the center puts everything on the measuring scales, even paper. You stand before this window with some ordinary woman behind the glass and wonder if she will accept the parcel, or will she find a foolish reason to reject it, such as that the milk hadn't been pasteurized where it should be sterile. Oh my god, how bad! And that's how you spend your day with these care packages. Then, after some more time, the lawyers collect the sailors' new wishes. These wishes usually refer to non-edible things, the food we normally get ourselves, using common sense. Marina Artemanova also helps Ukrainian prisoners. She says that passing on care packages to the detention center is the most effective way to show your support. Since September the 6th, we've been carrying out daily one-person protests, where we make our demands clear. We started when Alexei Sancov was on hunger strike, and we will carry on until this prisoner exchange takes place. And since we now also have the sailors, we become more active. We pass on care packages, and now we're here supporting the relatives. The Lefortovo court took 2 days to go over this case. The Ukrainians will now stay in detention for at least another 3 months. Most of them are now being driven back to the Lefortovo detention center using police vans. This is the same detention center where Alexei Sancov and Alexander Kolchenko were once kept. This place is sometimes called the FSB prison. It has strict rules. Things that prisoners can get away with in other detention centers don't make the cut here. In this detention center, prisoners also have to wait for their verdict for a long time. Sancov and Kolchenko spent nearly a year here.